Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kurt, and welcome back to Farlands or Bust, episode 574 of the series, as we evacuate the last episode's hidey hole. Evacuate? What is it, on fire? Get out of the last episode's hidey hole. Secure it. Grab Wolfie. Litter on the ground like we do. Ooh, a lot of dirt. A lot of dirt there, Kurt, J-Mac. And get pushed by Wolfie, but continue on west towards those far lands in Minecraft Beta 1.7.3, as we've been doing for over 5 years. But today is Tuesday. I've messed up the order in which I do these things. Today is Tuesday. It's Tuesday, everybody. Tuesday, March 22nd, 2016. This pig was dry. And we're still raising money for Child's Play charity over at farlandsorbust.com. $24,754.66 raised thus far. Asterisk. There's an asterisk on that. I got a little bit of a story to tell. Yeah, right now that's the number on the web page at farlandsorbust.com, on the widget at farlandsorbust.com. And then that's the button you want to donate at farlandsorbust.com to Child's Play charity, helping get toys, books, games to kids in hospitals around the world. We're trying to reach 30,000 by the end of the month, the 31st of March. That would be 50% of the way to our $60,000 goal for Season 6 here. And in doing so, we will continue with Flob Fridays for the remainder of the season. Flob Fridays have been during March Madness here, March Stream a Weekday. I've been streaming Monday through Friday, and Fridays have been days where we record the next episode, the Saturday episode of Farlands or Bust, live in front of a studio audience on Twitch. So let's get that to 30,000, and I will do such things as these. I will do such things as these indeed. Now to get to that asterisk. We're actually a few shades over $25,000. On the last Flob Friday, last Friday, we discovered something. I had accidentally been directing people via a redirect link, which I have now sworn off using, but via a non-updated redirect link. I've been saying, go to this address and you can donate to the charity. You bypass the farlandsorbust.com homepage, and you get the donate thingy. Unfortunately, that link was redirecting to the Season 5. The Season 5 Farlands or Bust charity donation widget, which we had deactivated since August 9th. August 9th, 2015 is when Season 6 started. So we had been, which was later than I thought. I don't know. It wasn't that long ago. I don't know where my memory is, but that we started later. Season 6 started later than I thought we did. But anyway, that's beside the point. So it's not a huge problem. The vast majority of all the donations have been going to the proper Season 6 Farlands or Bust charity widget. And it's just the widget. All the money still goes straight and directly to childsplaycharity.org. It all goes to the same place and gets used for the same things, getting toys, books, games to kids in hospitals around the world. So I mean, that's not a huge problem, but I've calculated, and it turned out to be $581.34. The vast majority of that came while I was streaming, because it was the link that I had on my Twitch page to donate that took you to the Season 5. The way you can tell is when you click on donate, you get taken to the donate screen where you can enter in your amount you want to donate, where you can enter in your comment or question, and up on the header it'll say Season 6 of Farlands or Bust, supporting Season 6 of Farlands or Bust, blah, 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 blah. That's the way to know you're in the right place. I have contacted Child's Play Charity and asked if there was a way that they could roll over the amount. Did I mention the story? It was $581.34 is the amount. Careful, Lovey! That's a cliffside. That was accidentally accidentally sent to the Season 5 amount versus the Season 6 amount. Well, since we have this bread, yoink. That's how I swallow my food, by saying yoink. So that, a little bit of a problem, a little bit disappointing. And, this comes on the heels of starting the series, or this season. I was talking about how I had an experience where I donated to a game charity, live game charity, where I expected something to happen on the stream in thanks for my, in response, in effect of my donation, and it did not happen, and it was not reflected in the amount. And while, yes, it was great, and I felt very good for supporting the people who were streaming and supporting the charity that they were supporting, there was a little bit of that emptiness. That old familiar tingling void that travels up your spine and then out of your heart that comes from various, various sources. But this time it came from the, that stunk source. This is probably a spawner. But I probably don't care. Nah, I don't. Let's go, Wolfie. We have things to discuss. What was I saying? Yeah, it just, it kind of stunk. So I'm like, I'm starting to maybe realize maybe I've done similar things in the past, and I want to try to thank people, and that's why I've sort of turned the majority of this season's episodes have been Q&A episodes based on cues given to me by donors. In part for that, and in part to kind of make sure I resolve what possible issues that may have been caused previously to that I was trying to avoid. And here we are, and I've just done such a thing. I've just had there were maybe, I think there were like 15 or 20 donations, a few pretty significant ones. That came in that were lost to the sands of time. That is to say, they were lost to Season 5. And that makes me feel bad. So we're going to work on, like I said, I've contacted Child's Play Charity. I've asked if they can add that $581.34 to the Season 6 total, just so that we have an accurate representation, both for getting us closer to this $30,000 midway goal, but then also obviously the full $60,000 goal. But for the time being, we'll do the math in our heads. And I have collected the lost questions, and I'm going to be answering them today. I've added them to the top of the list. I still have about 6 questions from the actual current season, Season 6, that went to the proper place. And I will be getting to those eventually as well. But yeah, let me get to the lost questions of Season 6 that accidentally fell into Season 5 today. And the first one from an anonymous donor. So this person gets no thanks regardless, but maybe they'll recognize their question. They asked, if you were invited to go on a one-way trip to Mars, would you go? And the answer is a resounding yes. The going meme in Far Lands or Bust Land, in Kurt J. McAtude land, is, I've said this many times before, if NASA, or anybody, SpaceX, whatever, were to suddenly show up at my door, ring my bell, I beg pardon? Well, they don't have to do that. I'll agree to go. I don't need any additional incentives. If they were to ring my doorbell and show up, with a clipboard and say, we built this spaceship and it requires a person of your specific height and weight, and you're perfect to be to hop in right now and go on a one-way trip to Mars. No questions asked. No being able to make arrangements or say whatever. You got to go right now. That before they could look up from that clipboard to see my answer, I would be already sitting in the back seat of the car being like, let's go, guys. What are you waiting for? Come on, let's go. Just leave the door open. Doesn't matter anymore. It's not my stuff anymore anyway. We're going to Mars. So that's the going joke, I suppose. I'm sure in reality it would be a little bit more of a difficult decision. But yeah, I don't see what not having any personal prospects of any greater grandeur, in my own opinion. I don't see what I, as a human, could do that could be any greater than such a thing. Not even, even if it wasn't, maybe there were other people on Mars or whatever. Sure, being the first person on Mars would be amazing. But even if that wasn't the case, that would still be an incredibly difficult thing to say no to. I'm finding it hard pressed to find a reason to say no if the offer was on the table and the chance was there. Even if, and people say, oh, well, if they can guarantee they'll get you safely on Mars. No, not really. I mean, I'm not like pessimistic or anything like that, but the chance, there's kind of a that tingling feeling that goes through your spine and out through your chest and in your arms, that just like want to do something, and it's the urge to step down from the canopy and wander out into the dangerous savannah, I suppose, if we can get poetic about human evolution or whatever. That would kind of drive that in me, I suppose. So yeah, indeed. Thank you very much for that donation. I apologize it took so long to see it, and let's continue in the morning. And awakeness. And going to Marsness. So that's why anytime if you're watching a live stream and I like go on a break, or like the doorbell rings and I disappear for a while and it takes a little bit longer to come back, people in the chat are just like, well, it's NASA. We're never seeing Kurt again. So long. Ooh, skeleton residue. Don't mind if I residue. Bloop. So yeah, thank you very much for that. Immortal Wanderer asked, when you are playing Minecraft multiplayer, what do you enjoy most? Building, fighting mobs, growing plants, or wandering around? Multiplayer, I probably have more fun, like truly multiplayer, with the mini game type of stuff, the combat kind of stuff. I mean, I don't want to say competitive because I'm not a very competitive person, but I enjoyed, and I need to find time to get back into my schedule recording like Minecraft Murder with Inasia and that whole group, or those speed UHCs. I stopped liking doing speed UHCs solos, just because I stink at it, and it seems, here's 20 minutes to then go die. As always. Not that I need to win, but you're not competitive, so just stop trying. But the doing the team stuff is really fun, just because you can have like team banter back and forth. So yeah, as far as multiplayer is concerned, that. But then again, I've been on multiplayer servers, on the Minecraft server. I'm currently doing stuff on my patron server. I tend to do stuff there that could just very well be single player, like building the upside angle house. Or building Wilson Hall. It's that doesn't seem like that is exclusive to multiplayer. It's helpful. It's cool to have people bringing me enchanted tools or whatever to work on, so it kind of negates the stuff I don't like about the game, enchanting, the grinding, I guess, like that. But yeah, if you're just speaking specifically multiplayer, I like the more casual. Communal builds are hard for me. I find those hard to do because it's hard to like delegate. It's hard. It's hard, I think, to it's like as if you were gonna like paint an oil painting, but have 3 people paint at the same exact time. It's like how do you do that? Perhaps I'm just bad at group projects, but that part of multiplayer doesn't strike me very well. Exploring, obviously, I get my fair share of exploring here in the single player. Far Lands or Bust. That's kind of interesting too. I mean, as a multiplayer scenario, to explore and cave together. Caving together, it seems like a fun thing, to do. I don't know. I haven't done too much. I take that back. I've done. We did Wabu Wanders by Mondi, Wayward Wonders with Dr. Brian Logan 111. That was an exploration type of thing. That was kind of fun to do as a multiplayer situation. But yeah, I think that sums up my Minecraft multiplayer experience. Oh, similarly with the first question, Luke is spooky too. Luke is spooky. Luke is spooky too asks, would you consider living on the moon if when it becomes available? Is there a space available? I gotta check realtor.com. Living? I don't know about living. I don't know that anybody could or would live, quote unquote, on the moon like you would settle or live, quote unquote, on Mars. Visit, yes. And that's a huge another again with the I'm interested in what's happening up ahead here. That's another it's been rather clear out lately. I don't think we've gotten rain this entire year. But anyway, droughts. Oh man, look at this. This is one of the biggest arches we've seen. Natural archway, a bridge. Oh, it's a multi-bridge. Ooh, it's a suspension bridge. It's a truss bridge. It's a bridgey bridge. Thumbnail. Hold on now. This is craziness. Wow, yeah, I like it a lot. Gee, tell us what you really think. Wolfie, let's come over here. Let's have a seat. Say right on the edge, on the edge, on the edge. Yeah, there we go. Let's take a picture for posterity's sake, shall we? Hold on, I gotta make room for the logo. I always forget to do that. I take a picture like this, but then it would be covered up by the logo on the thumbnail. Neat. What was I saying? In all honesty, I haven't told too many people this, but remember when I quit my job in July 2011? I didn't do so. I wasn't making any money through YouTube. I didn't do so to become a full-time YouTuber or whatever. I did so because I wanted to go back to school. I had a passion for science, astronomy, spaceflight. I wanted to go back to school for geology because in my naive, hope-filled heart, I thought that if I went back to school and got a degree in geology, I could specify and specialize in planetary geology, and start to work for a university or NASA or whatever. Obviously, in the planetary sciences, working with the sort of exploration, Mars, Europa or whatever, those things. But then, I was in my dreams of dreams, I dreamed a dream that, they're going to need, when they start selecting astronauts in the future to go to an asteroid or go to back to the moon, which is on and off the table continually, or onto Mars, they're going to need geologists, and that would be my best chance since I'm no pilot. I'm not going to join the Air Force and go through all that to become a pilot, or I'm not. I don't have any other astronaut-like skills, but if I were to get I'd eventually get a PhD in planetary geology or something, that then I could be an astronaut. And even though it's quite late in my life, by the time I'm, astronauts tend to be in their late 30s and 40s and even into their 50s. That would be the perfect age time for me to be chosen, and then I can go to the moon. Obviously that's never going to happen, so that's sad. that doesn't make me happy, but that does the opposite. But yeah, that was sure, maybe childish thinking, wistful thinking, but I think my time for that sort of stuff is unfortunately come and gone. Boy, happy everybody, lollipops and gumdrops. Oh man, but yeah, that was one of my personal reasons for wanting to do that. But obviously that didn't happen. It was probably never going to happen, obviously. But positivity. But yeah, that would be amazing. I do pretty much any time I look up and see the moon, I'm like, damn it, I want to go to there. Oh man, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe some of you in the audience are young enough where you can have a similar goal and steer your lives in that direction if you want. No pressure, but you better do it in my name. No. But anyway, yeah, I would, like, in an instant. Again, even if it was just the moon, NASA showed up, ding dong. Yes, I'm in the car. Let's go. I'm ready. Why are we not in the rocket yet? Let's go. So yeah, I would. Yes, without the second thought. That would be an easier decision to make because it wouldn't be a one-way trip, I don't think. But That would be a much easier idea. But what else we going here? Fly with Jacob. Again, these are all questions lost to the sands of time of Season 5 accidental donations. Well, the donations weren't accidental. Where they ended up was accidental. Fly with Jacob. What's your favorite astronomy-related memory, and why does it stand out? I've got a few. Oh, God. It's doing it again. Freezing. Oh. See, now, we've continued after such things as these and been perfectly fine, so I'm going to continue. I have a backup. I always back up the world before I start recording, just in case I need to revert, just in case I need a mulligan. Yeah, I don't understand what causes that. It happened at the beginning of a recording before, within the first day. This is like at the end of the second day. It makes no rhyme or reason or sense. It has nothing to do with Windows 10. This started happening before I was on the new computer or anything like that. Huh. Very strange. Well, for the longest time, when I was at the end of elementary school, 10, 11, 12 years old, I got my first telescope, and it was one of these... You know, we didn't know. My parents didn't know who bought it for me. Department store telescopes. Got it from a store in the mall called Nature's Wonders. Nature's Wonders? Natural Wonders? Something Wonders. Wayward Wonders. It was a very small, it was probably like 60 millimeter or something, refractor. It had the small 0.98 inch or whatever eyepieces that were impossible to see through. Very flimsy and shaky and hard to adjust mount and tripod. And from getting it, they had, it magnifies 800 times, and they had pictures of the moon and Saturn and stuff on the box. I thought this was stuff I was going to see, but I was never able to find anything, or the moon, I suppose, every once again, but even that was hard to find. I pretty much hung it on the shelf for the vast majority of my waning childhood years. And it wasn't until it was after I even graduated college, I think. I was living at home. I was 24, 25, 26 even. And I went to sleep and continued in the morning. And awakeness. And I had started to get back into, thinking about astronomy and stuff. I didn't join the astronomy club yet or anything. I started really getting interested. That was when you were starting to see the International Space Station with the naked eye. So I started getting up really early in the morning before sunrise to see it, and the first time I saw it, I was jumping for joy. It was pretty awesome. I would highly recommend you attempt to do such things now that it's even brighter. So I was really getting back into and as I was looking up and waiting for the International Space Station to fly over, I'd see all these stars and things I'd wanted to see. I'd see other satellites that I didn't realize you could see. I had no idea. I was tracking when the space shuttle was launching to the International Space Station. You can track them together, catching up with each other or whatever. But yeah, then I decided, well, let's try to take out this old rink-a-dink telescope. And I'd actually done some research and looked, Jupiter's up in the sky at this time or whatever, and tried to see stuff, failed to see stuff. But I distinctly remember one time I did, music. I did look up, and I was able to somehow, who knows how, with this it didn't, moving it would move too much. It was really difficult to use this wibbly old tripod or whatever. I was able to get Jupiter in the viewfinder, and it was so, you couldn't see the cloud bands or anything like that, but you could definitely see that it was a planet, a circle, and that was the first time I'd seen that. Mind you, I got this telescope when I was 12. This was 14 years later. I'm 25, 26 years old. I see Jupiter, and then I see the moons of Jupiter, and at first I'm like, are those stars? Those seem like they're lined up really neatly to be stars, and I look it up, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm looking at the moons of Jupiter, and that was extremely exciting. So that's on the top of my list. Of course, I had a similar reaction when I found and pointed the telescope at Saturn. Really overexposed and hard to focus, and impossible to focus, but I was able to see the little, just ever so slight inclination of the rings of Saturn, and that blew my mind. And then that's when I'm like, yep, hooked. I joined the astronomy club. They kind of guided me in buying my first actual good telescope. That was the Dobsonian, the 8-inch telescope, and then able to see that. And then I remember also, on top of that, with that telescope, being able to find on my own, by myself, my first deep sky, quote-unquote, object. I found the Ring Nebula by looking at star charts and, okay, these are these stars here, and doing some star hopping, this to this to this, and then I found it. I'm like, that's it. I found it all by myself. So now, being as that was the first deep sky object, the Ring Nebula is an old exploded star, 2,600 light years away, I think is the number. I remember these things. I think, maybe. That could be completely wrong. But, yeah, now I know I don't need a star chart. I know exactly where that is. For most people who are into amateur astronomy, who've been doing it a long time, they know where a lot of these very common objects are. But I know where that one is now, just because it was the first one I found on my own, and I can remember it like the back of my hand now. But, yeah, those are a few. I do remember also being out at our dark site with the astronomy club, and just as the sun set, I knew that there was an International Space Station flyover, so I was going to watch it. I'm like, well, wait a minute, I got my telescope set up, so I put in my widest field eyepiece, and I found it, and I tracked it with my telescope, and I could see the solar panels and the modules and stuff, and that was amazing. That was pretty crazy. Yeah, there's a few, and there's ones where I've seen fireball meteors that lit up the ground and scared the bejeebus out of me, or made noise or whatever, or obviously seeing the transit of Venus a couple of years ago was amazing as well. But those are those first few that kind of solidified things for me are the ones that I remember most, I guess. It's NASA, everybody. It's NASA. Hold on. End of the episode. I'm going to go forever. Hold on a second. Let's pause it here for a second, and we'll continue in a second. Wolfie's excited, too. Woo! All right, we're back. And bouncing, and we're bouncing, and we're woofing, and we're continuing on. What was I saying? Yeah, okay. Well, that was that question. Thank you very much. Fly with Jacob. Dravere has asked, and we're getting more recent here. Kind of strange. You give us this daunting task to come up with good questions, and you yourself are unable to provide some yourself? Yes, this is in response to the few questions I got before about asking fans questions. I'm no good. I'm no good at the question asking. Then Dravere goes on to say, and I'm going to actually say this out loud, because you're going to be held to it. Says, would you mind if I would collect questions from viewers that are unable to donate and send those in with a donation per question? I'm really bad at finding good questions myself, and sending a donation without a question feels like a waste. Well, it shouldn't feel like a waste, Dravere. We've got plenty. Previously the majority, but we've got plenty of anonymous donations or questionless donations. It has just sort of become a thing that I've added to the Far Lands of Us thing, to a little bit more incentive. But the real incentive, obviously, is to help out Child's Play charity and help out kids. But additionally, the first incentive is to get us to our goal so that we can finally hold another Flobathon and press F3 to find out how far we've walked here in Far Lands of Us. That, my friends, is the incentive. But yes, if you would like to do that, I that would be fine, I suppose. I mean, if that's completely up to you. So everybody head over to Dravere if you've not been able to donate. But of course, that doesn't mean you shouldn't donate. If you can donate and would like to donate, completely optional. You can do so at farlandsofus.com and then ask your own dang question. Why don't you? Oh man, Spacey Kevin asks. Beep beep. He asks beep beep. Spacey Kevin asks, I've noticed that you no longer yelp when that was the end of that sentence. I noticed you no longer yelp. Are there any other quirks or idiosyncrasies that you've lost or grown out of? Probably. I don't honestly know. That is a tough one to answer. Woof, it would probably... I mean, I don't know. It would be up to you guys to have realized. I still say indeed. Maybe not as much, but I still say indeed. That's still a thing to do. it just depends. That kind of first came from, I think that was first when I played Grid 2. Was it Grid 1 or Grid 2? That was Grid 2. The first time, one of my first racing games that I play on a channel, and when spinning wildly out of control, I would I don't know where that came from or why that was the thing I started to do. Ooh, this tree has got a hole in it. So yeah, I guess it's just something I've grown out of. I've transferred for other things like swear words, I guess, in racing games. I mean, it's the same with real life. This isn't real. This is imaginary. That you get on flows with things or themes or jokes or whatever, and then you wane off of them and move on to the next thing. But yeah, it's never, these sort of things I do are not like intentional. I don't like stand in front of the mirror and like have a notepad of, will this be funny to say? Maybe I could use this, and then test it out and be like, nope, this is not going to work. It's not something I sit down and A/B test beforehand with a test audience or anything. I just let it fly, and that's how I do what I do. Whether or not it's the good way to do, but I do. I do. Let's see here. Alan Zero. I think this has been asked before, but I can answer it again. Do you smoke? And if so, could you talk about how that came to be? If you enjoy it, and any thoughts you have on the subject. No, I don't. I do not smoke. Cigarettes or otherwise. I tried it in high school for like a month, but then I was like, meh, that's kind of, oh, I'm done with this now. So then I stopped. So I don't know. Going back to the previous episode, I said I don't have like an addictive personality. Maybe there's some wires missing in my head, or well, I mean, there certainly are, but whatever sort of chemical that causes such things is not very active in my brain, or maybe it's just I didn't do it for long enough, or whatever. But no, that's I've never since, and never have any desire to. I wouldn't at all hope to recommend anybody do, and if you do, I hope you're trying to stop doing. It's not healthy, and the people who make them are evil, and they don't want you to be happy. they just want your money. So I mean, that is kind of one of those things that if you like get to know somebody really well, and then like oh, this person's awesome, and then you learn that they smoke, you're like, oh no, why do you do such things? But I don't hold it against people or anything like that. I know people who smoke or whatever, and I don't hold it against them or their personality. I generally will excuse myself if they start to do so in the vicinity. But yeah, no, I don't. And yeah, I would recommend you not either do such things. It's very bad. It's very bad. So yeah, I actually have a few more questions from the Lost Season 6 questions, lost to Season 5, that we'll get to in the next episode. Let's find an appropriate place for a hidey hole here. This looks good. This looks good. A nice flat blank canvas here to create the end of the episode. Hidey hole. I do appreciate your continued donations. All the links are properly updated now. You do not have to worry about whether or not your donation is tallying towards the correct season. If you are worried, just remember when you do click on donate or find yourself on that donate page that allows you to enter in the amount and allows you to put down the comment prior to clicking donate and going to PayPal or wherever you go. Just make sure the header says Season 6. It will say supporting Season 6, Far Lands of Bust for Child's Play Charity, or something along those lines, as long as it says Season 6. If it says Season 5, then you're in the wrong place. But there should be nowhere existing anymore unless you have a really long-term cache on your browser. That should be taking you to that Season 5 goal. And like I said, I'll be waiting to hear back from Child's Play Charity to see if they can. They should be able to. I mean, they rolled over the Mindcrack Marathon one before, so I don't see why they wouldn't be able to. But if not, we'll just do the math in our heads and be fine with that. But yeah, I appreciate your patience with that. Everybody was very understanding when I discovered that at the end of last Friday's live stream. We discovered that live on stream. That was a delightfully embarrassing situation to find myself in. But yeah, I mean, it all goes to the same place. Child's Play Charity. Learn more about them at childsplaycharity.org. Donate at farlandsorbust.com. All that going towards getting us to $30,000 before the end of the month, and then $60,000 for the season to earn that F3 to see how far we've walked. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Kurt. I will see you next time. Oh. Oh, I swallowed a bug. Ring my bell.